Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. Foodie got a new cat. Really, that's the main point of what we can talk about here. There was some other things. Oh, the light's off. Just blind myself. Excuse me if my eyes seem a little watery, even pre-light blinding. My contact lenses have actually been really bothering me today, but if I wear glasses, the light reflects in them, so I try not to when I'm on screen. So Foodie got a new cat, which is, unequivocally speaking, a terrible idea, surely. Surely that's a terrible idea. But the fact is, Foodie, I don't believe, got a cat because she cared that much about having one. She very, very much cared that other people said she shouldn't have one. And now here we are. Because ultimately, through all of the lies and all of the misdirection and all of the deletes and all of the recasting of stories and all the manipulation, just straight manipulation that she puts out on screen, she's not that hard of a read. And this is very much reading, you can't tell me what to do, look, you couldn't stop me getting another cat, look how cute she is, stay mad, babies. Because that's what Chantal wants from this. She wants a reaction. Now, I'm aware for some of you, reporting this news is deemed reaction enough. And maybe it is. Maybe she'll get what she wants from this. But I don't think so. I don't think she wants calm reporting. I think she wants outrage. Because I think she was so angry when people got the better of her last time. People that she considers stupider than herself. Yeah, she considers herself the smartest one in the room, even when evidence is very much to the contrary. And she got tricked, and that has been eating at her for a long, long time. And now look, she wins, or at least to her mind she wins, because FFG can't reach into Kuwait and grab this cat from her. So ha 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 ha. And she's done that sound on camera before. That is literally the mentality of who we're dealing with here. And we know she's thinking directly of FFG and their response. And I think, in a wider sense, a satisfaction with outraging people about it. But mostly FFG. In that very first video, within the first 5 minutes of introducing the new cat, which I don't believe has a name yet, she was talking about reaction channels and about what they would think. And she was gleeful in the knowledge that she had this cat and nothing could be done. And she did have a massive long rant against FFG in her community tab that was taken down quite quickly after. I don't know exactly how long it stayed up, but I know I missed it and I saw it through like Twitter and things like that. And do not doubt that this will not be the last we see of the cat. She will be rubbing it in everyone's faces for as long as she can. Because, like I said, outrage is the point. She is not producing any new drama these days. And she needs something, so she keeps fanning the flames of the old thing, and she's waiting for FFG's reaction, because one thing she can pretty much guarantee is that FFG will give a reaction. Just like the one thing we can guarantee is whenever FFG talks or breathes or makes a sound, she'll give a reaction. It is the fulcrum on which their relationship pivots. Now, Foodie has played fast and loose with her audience before, because she doesn't give a damn what her audience think of her, just that they're still watching. And it used to be still watching and still super chatting, but she's had issues with that for quite a while now. But faced with this dearth of content, she really just needs anything to catch hold. And she knows the cats are a really touchy subject for a lot of people. But here's the thing, and this is, as much as everyone may hate to believe and say it, this is where Foodie really wins, is that for all the call to arms that have been the response to this video, the response to the fact that she's got a new cat and how dare she, there is ultimately nothing people can do, or rather nothing people are willing to do. Because one of the things this has resulted in is another call for a blackout of not reacting to her stuff and not responding to her videos and not commenting. And this is becoming a fairly common occurrence now. I think this is the third one, because she's a really polarizing figure and people just want there to be a consequence. And I think a lot of people still watching are here because for all her content has become what her content is, they just want to re-establish their belief in a karmic universe and see her have some kind of consequence. Now, I think her getting the cat is pretty awful. I don't think there's any pathway and any measure that's going to lead to the betterment of that cat's life if it remains with Foodie. And that's simply because I don't believe in Foodie's own internal sense of equilibrium strongly enough to see her consistently look after herself, let alone any other living thing. Now, this cat has got somewhat of a fighting chance with Salah there, simply because it tends to force Chantal to live in less of a hovel than she usually does from what we've seen, although we have seen very little. The basic cleanliness, the appearance of it at least, seems to be maintained. But the apartment's still full of smoke. It's still going to be an unpleasant place to be. There's a very good chance that one night Howie's going to escape his cage again and end up a midnight snack for the cat. So really, neither of them are in a good position here. And it's not an environment I would necessarily want an animal in. But it does leave an interesting question of, so where exactly is the line then? Because the fact of the matter is, there's going to be a lot of people right now who, like me, are on the third call for a blackout. And I have never participated in the blackouts whenever they've been called for, because I feel the idea of them is fundamentally flawed. And I feel like they really encourage some of the worst aspects of the personality of the community, for want of a better word. I think it really encourages the mob mentality that I think is already too deeply embedded within us. And you see evidence within the comments of reactors during and after these supposed blackout times, where they'll just go witch hunting afterwards to be like, oh, reactor X, Y, and 23, thought crime for you. How dare you not follow this rule that we, the collective, arbitrarily put in place that you had to obey. No, I did not sign that contract with you. Thank you very much. I will follow Chantal as deeply or not deeply, depending on how much time I've got, as I choose to for as long as I am interested. Because I do believe reporting on her is important. Because, important as she gets anyway, important within this very select and nuanced corner of YouTube. Because if you care about the truth of that story, it requires reporting. Because she works really hard to erase it whenever it doesn't sit well with her or whenever it doesn't benefit her. An excellent example of this would be the last few days she's been very, very quiet. And I believe she has hopped a border. And I know every time I use the word hop, I end up with a string of fat comments going, oh, you think she can hop? I think she got in a car and went over a border, or got on a short plane ride and went over a border to get her visa sorted out. Because I think the reason she's got the cat, as a kind of wider lens on this, is the fact that she was planning on using Sam as an excuse to go back to Canada temporarily. And then upon actually looking into what it would require to get him back to Kuwait, it was too difficult, too expensive, too complicated, and probably not actually possible under the circumstances she was describing, because a lot of airlines won't allow a cat to be sedated, and a lot of airlines will not allow cats to travel in the kind of heat that is currently in her part of the world. And so she decided, oh, well, I love Sam, I'll get a new pet, just to prove I can. But that means that she didn't have the opportunity to travel back at just the convenient time to renew her visa. Now, there are two possibilities. There's one that she got a visa extension, although I believe she was rejected for that before, so probably I would guess not, because having been rejected once, you're more likely to be rejected again. Or two, she took a trip somewhere and now she's back, and conveniently she was very quiet for a while there. We could get very complicated with it, but Occam's razor says that she's not that smart and it's just the kind of thing she'd do. And now, surprise! Look, we've got something else to talk about that is definitely not this thing that she doesn't want to discuss. And she gets the bonus of getting one over on FFG, because clearly that's the most important thing in her life. I think there's two minds when it comes to audience response here. Because for some people, this will be a line. This getting of a new pet is the end. But to me, I look at this and I'm like, well, I'm still here. And is the potential for what she could do to this cat worse than the actual proof of the neglect that BBJ lived under? Because if the answer is no, which is, I think, practically speaking, the answer for me, I don't find this worse than what's already happened, then why would this be my line? I respect it if it is your line. If you're just sick of it and you're like, no, I'm not doing this again, this is as far as I go, I respect it. And there's a lot of talk, and this is really where the talk of the blackouts come from. The blackout is people saying, no, this is my limit, and I want Chantal to know that I'm angry at her. Chantal knows. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. And the fact is, although the outrage behind it is real and has a basis in fact, there is good reason for that level of outrage. The reaction for many people who have already been through 2 blackouts is not really a genuine one, even though it may be genuinely rooted in emotion. Because those people are not going to stay away for the most part. There is a very small percentage who are just done, man. And again, I respect it. But I also respect it if you're not. If you just want to see what happens, you get to just watch it. It doesn't have to be the moral compass of your life to be like, I just need to see the end. I just need to see the end, right? I'm here with you. I think I need to see what happens. And I might lose that interest. She nearly lost me during the drugs era, because something that I've always been able to interact with when it comes to Chantal is the fact that I can relate certain thought processes and, having trouble with my words there, and things I've been through or experienced. But I have never been involved in drugs in my life. And I can talk a little bit about sort of food addiction and cross addiction and things of that nature, which have sort of fed into that, because I feel a lot of the drug stuff it started worsening the moment she started restricting her food intake through Ozempic. That I can find a thread of commonality that I find interesting to follow. And I was losing my ability to find that in the drugs. But her moving to the Middle East has only ever made her more relevant to me. So my interest, although, my God, she puts out some boring content some days, my general interest in her and her psyche, it remains. Despite myself, it remains. If that's not the case for you, if this is the hill upon which you die, and it's a good hill to die on, it is a good reason to go in and be like, no, this is the end of the path, then so be it. But the fact is, there is a percentage, that little percentage that likes to witch hunt, that will make the point that, no, I will not touch anything foodie, I will not touch anything foodie adjacent. And I am perfectly comfortable classifying my channel as both foodie adjacent and foodie dependent, because I put my other content on other channels. So everything on here is foodie. That's the purpose of this channel. But will then break this embargo to come and tell me what a terrible person I am for not doing it in the comments. And I'm sorry, but either your principles are strong enough that you will not give a view to anything related to her, or your hate was strong enough that it overturned your principles so you could tell me what a terrible person I was. Or to hope, I'm sure very genuinely, that nothing terrible happens to me on my channel because I've gone against the will of the collective. At the end of this, you all draw your own lines, and I will draw mine. And I think most of the people that frequent my channel, I think they know what they're getting with me. Most of you have grown with me, and if it was such an amazing problem, we would have had this conversation long before. But these kinds of topics tend to engage the emotions, and sometimes that means, in that mob mentality, people will start making the rounds that don't usually go around and start making lists start making lists in black little books of people not to watch because they didn't take part. Yeah, I didn't, and I won't, because it's just not what I do. If foodie crosses a line that I find unbearable, I'll stop watching her. But until I get to that point, and I don't know what that point is, I really don't. But in a weird way, despite how boring some of the content in the Middle East has been, I'm still connected because I'm here. I have experience in the Middle East. And that's one of the reasons I got new subscribers to my channel when this all started, is because I had that connection. So for better or worse, she is still relevant to me. So feel free to have feelings on this matter. Feel free to do what you feel is right in terms of where you put your view, and by extension, the income that could be generated from that view. Because sometimes the only way to protest is to take that away. And you see that frequently in consumerism, people refusing to buy a product. Foodie's product is essentially herself. And I think we had this conversation last time a blackout was discussed. So you draw your lines and I'll draw mine. But never go into this unaware that this is a manipulation tactic. And I think many people are now past the point where they can't recognize it, but being able to recognize it doesn't always enable you to not react to it, as we have seen in Foodie herself many, many times, because you feel emotional, because you feel for the cats, because you probably have them yourself. And you think, God, who could do that? Because she's been terrible with all her animals. And I want to say, what on earth would make her think this is a good idea? The purpose was never the good idea. The purpose was how terribly bad of an idea it was. This was pure bait. I will report on it because she will deny it later. I don't have a particular emotion to give her. I won't give her the satisfaction of, look how angry Milk Tea is at me. No, I'm just reporting the news. But she's going to enjoy the outrage. Don't think she won't. And remember that when you're giving it to her. This has been a bit of a weird video, and I've got a feeling I've probably offended a number of people. It is what it is. We won't always agree. I should point out before we go though, that I realise, one, I'm still going to get those comments despite the fact that it does completely undermine the point you're making. And two, there are going to be people trying to pass on future blackout dates in my comments. And I have to warn you now, okay? Generally, I try not to moderate my comments heavily. You're most likely to get deleted if you're in causing issues through comment threads, attacking other commenters, than you are if you've got a problem with my teeth, my wigs, my weight, or any other number of things. However, encouraging brigading or encouraging people to not consume the content of other creators, however heinous that creator might be, can be interpreted as against terms of service, and therefore for the protection of my own channel, I delete those comments. So it's not a personal stance on how I feel about you doing things, because that is your choice to make, not mine. But if those comments disappear, yes, they are being moderated. So be aware. If you want to spread the good word, please do it through other avenues. And that's really where I am. Terrible choices from her, but very predictable behaviors. And we will be here again, I have no doubt. So do what you feel is right in this situation, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.